A Boy and His Blooms, written by Louisa May Alcott. This timeless tale captures the essence of innocence and the beauty of nature. The streets bustled with the city's rhythm. The hum of conversations, the clatter of footsteps, and the distant honking of cars created a symphony of urban life. Amidst the clamor, a young boy sat with his floral wares. His name was Finn. Every day, he positioned himself at the same corner, hoping to catch the eye of a passerby. His eyes, wide and bright, shone like the dewdrops on his roses. They reflected a world of dreams and endless possibilities. He had a smile that could melt the frostiest heart. It was a smile that spoke of hope, resilience, and the simple joys of life. Each flower in his basket held the promise of spring. They were vibrant, fragrant, and full of life, much like Finn himself. He called out, his voice sweet as birdsong, "Roses, lilies, a bouquet for your love." His voice was a melody that danced through the air, catching the attention of many. Finn knew the city's heart. He knew its secrets, its rhythms, and its stories. He was a part of its very fabric. He knew where sunlight kissed the cobblestones first. Those early morning rays were his favorite, bringing warmth and light to the bustling streets. He knew the bakery with the warm scent of cinnamon rolls. The aroma was a comforting embrace, a reminder of simpler times. He knew the old man who fed the pigeons, his laughter like crinkled paper. The man's joy was infectious, spreading to all who passed by. Most of all, Finn knew the language of flowers. He understood their meanings, their stories, and the emotions they conveyed. Each bloom held a secret, a story waiting to be told. Through his flowers, Finn communicated love, hope, and dreams, touching the hearts of all who received them. One day, a grand carriage stopped by Finn's corner. A lady, draped in silks and satins, peered out. Her face, framed by silver curls, seemed etched with a forgotten sadness. She had the air of someone used to finery, yet her eyes held a certain emptiness, a longing for something lost. Finn, ever the charmer, offered his brightest smile. "A flower for your day, madam," he chirped, holding up a perfect white lily. The lady hesitated, her gaze lingering on Finn's face. There was something familiar about him, something that tugged at her heart. "Perhaps," she murmured, her voice a mere whisper. Her fingers, adorned with glittering rings, reached out to touch the lily's soft petals. Finn, sensing her hesitation, spoke softly. "This lily reminds me of my mother. She always said lilies stood for love that lasts forever." The lady's head snapped up, her eyes wide with surprise. "Your mother? What was her name?" "Lily," Finn answered, his voice tinged with a touch of sadness. "She's gone now, but I like to think she watches over me." He looked down at the lily, a single tear tracing a path down his cheek. The lady, her composure shaken, reached out and gently wiped away his tear. "She would be very proud of you," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "A kind heart like yours is a rare and beautiful thing." "Do you have a photograph of your mother, child?" the lady asked, her voice barely a murmur. Finn, surprised by her request, nodded. He pulled out a worn leather pouch from beneath his shirt. It held his most prized possession, a faded photograph of his mother. He carefully unfolded the photograph and handed it to the lady. The lady's breath hitched as she saw the image. It was a picture of a young woman with laughing eyes and a cascade of auburn hair. She held a baby boy, his tiny hand wrapped around her finger. The lady's hand trembled as she traced the outline of the woman in the photo. Her eyes, filled with a mix of disbelief and growing recognition, darted from the photo to Finn. "This woman," she began, her voice shaking. "She looks familiar, very familiar." She paused, her mind racing back through years of memories. "Tell me, child, do you know anything about your mother's past, where she came from?" Finn shook his head sadly. "No, ma'am. She never talked about her life before she met my father. She said the past was gone and all that mattered was the present. But she always smiled when she looked at this picture. She said it reminded her of happy times." The lady's heart ached for the young boy. He reminded her so much of her own son. The years had driven a wedge between them. Now she yearned to bridge that gap, to make amends for lost time. "This photo," the lady finally said, her voice barely a whisper, "it brings back memories. Painful ones. You see, I had a sister once. We were very close. But we had a falling out, a silly argument that drove us apart. We never spoke again." She looked at Finn, her eyes filled with a lifetime of regret. "I haven't seen her in years. Not since—" She paused, her voice choked with emotion. Not since she ran away to marry a man our family didn't approve of. Finn listened intently, his heart pounding in his chest. Could this kind lady's story be connected to his own? Could there be a chance, however slim, that he might learn something about his mother's past? This woman, the lady continued, her voice trembling, she had the same auburn hair as your mother, the same eyes, even the same smile. It was as if she was looking at a ghost from her past, a mirror image that brought back a flood of memories. She reached into her purse and pulled out a small silver locket. Her hands shook slightly as she held it out, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. It was old and tarnished, but engraved on its front were the initials EL. The locket seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories within its delicate frame. This belonged to my sister Eliza, the lady said, her voice heavy with unshed tears. She paused, taking a deep breath as if to steady herself before continuing. We were both named after our grandmother Eleanor. She was the matriarch of our family, a woman of great strength and grace. Finn's breath hitched as he saw the locket. He knew that locket. It was as if time had stopped, and he was transported back to his childhood. He had seen it countless times before. Each time, it had filled him with a sense of mystery and longing. It was the same locket his mother had kept hidden away in her most prized possession, a small wooden box filled with mementos from her past. The box was a treasure trove of memories, each item telling a story of its own. My mother had a locket just like that, Finn said, his voice barely above a whisper. The realization hit him like a wave, overwhelming and undeniable. It had the same initials. The connection was too strong to ignore, too significant to be a mere coincidence. He reached beneath his shirt and pulled out the worn leather pouch. His hands were steady, but his heart raced with anticipation. From it, he carefully removed the small wooden box. As he opened it, the familiar scent of aged wood and memories filled the air, bringing with it a sense of nostalgia and revelation. The lady watched, her heart pounding as Finn opened the box. Inside, nestled among faded letters and dried flowers, lay a silver locket identical to her own. Tears welled in her eyes as she recognized the inscription on the back. To my dearest Eliza, may our bond never be broken. With love, Eleanor. It was like a dam had broken inside her. Years of guilt, regret, and unspoken longing came pouring out. Eliza, she whispered, her voice choked with emotion. It is you, isn't it? You're alive. Finn, overwhelmed by the emotions swirling around him, could only nod. He never imagined that a chance encounter with a kind stranger would lead to such a momentous revelation. His mother's past, shrouded in mystery for so long, was finally coming to light. The lady, her face awash in tears, stepped out of her carriage and embraced Finn tightly. My dear nephew, she murmured into his hair, I can't believe it's really you. Your mother, she's alive. We can finally be a family again. Finn, still trying to process everything, clung to her, drawing comfort from her warmth and the realization that he had family, that he wasn't alone in the world. The lady, her heart overflowing with joy and remorse, made a promise to Finn. She would take care of him, just as she should have taken care of his mother. She would give him the love, support, and opportunities he deserved. She would right the wrongs of the past and build a brighter future, together. From that day forward, Finn's life was transformed. The kindness he received opened doors he never imagined. He moved into the lady's grand home, a place that felt more like a palace to a boy accustomed to the streets. The mansion was filled with warmth and love, a stark contrast to the cold, harsh reality he once knew. He had a real bed, warm clothes, and more food than he could eat. Every meal was a feast, every night a comfort. The simple pleasures of life, which he had once only dreamed of, were now his daily reality. But more importantly, he had family. He found a sense of belonging, a place where he was loved and cherished. He grew close to his aunt, who showered him with love and affection. They shared countless moments of joy, laughter, and heartfelt conversations. He learned about his mother's life, her dreams, her regrets. Through his aunt's stories, he felt a connection to his mother that he had never known before. He discovered that she had always loved him, even when she couldn't be with him. Her letters, filled with love and longing, became his most treasured possessions. Finn never forgot his life on the streets. The memories of hardship and survival were etched into his soul. He never forgot the kindness of strangers or the importance of compassion. Those small acts of kindness had changed his life forever. He continued to sell flowers, but now it was for pleasure, not necessity. Each flower he sold was a symbol of hope and gratitude. He used his earnings to help those less fortunate, to spread joy and kindness wherever he went. Finn's journey from the streets to a loving home taught him the true power of kindness, a lesson he carried with him for the rest of his life. Finn's story, a testament to the power of fate and the interconnectedness of lives, became a tale whispered on the streets. It was a reminder that even in the midst of hardship, hope and love can bloom in the most unexpected places. Like a single flower pushing through concrete, Finn's journey served as an inspiration. It proved that even the smallest acts of kindness could have a ripple effect, changing lives and mending broken hearts. And so, the boy who once sold flowers on a bustling city street became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even the most fragile bloom could hold the promise of a brighter tomorrow.